Isn't it a good time to be a Transformers fan? How best to say this? It's a little bit of both, if you want the long and short of it. It's a little bit of yes and a little bit of no, because there are some things that I am excited for, and there are some things that I am a little bit, obligated by. But that's really all I can go so far with that. But, yeah, hi folks, it's Goblin Fro, back to do a response video this time, because, this is regarding Dave Kalelprime's video, which I'm a little bit late to post a response to, but whatever. I thought I might as well just throw my name in there because I thought this would matter, but anyway. This is regarding his video, which is, isn't it a good time to be a Transformers fan, or if you want to put it correctly, isn't it a good time to like robots, basically? And, let's see, how best to really say this, and give my thought on it to make it really count. Well, at the moment with Transformers, because it's at that point now where it's slowly drawing to the 30th anniversary next year, because we have a few things lined up, planned for this year and next year as well. Let's see what we got. We've got Prime on the Beast Hunters line and the third and final series of the show, which is the Beast Hunters series. New toys coming along, the Prime figures, which are what they are, and the Classics figures, which actually look really, really good. A new cartoon set to come along, and regrettably we're getting a new movie coming out next year to mark the 30th anniversary of the brand. So, I think the best way to really start is to go from the order that they are in. With Prime and the Beast Hunters line at the moment that we are currently getting, that we are seeing as of the moment, and the third and final series to bring Prime to an end. Well, here's the thing. I have really wanted to like Prime. I really wanted to like Prime. I liked Prime since the day it came out, since it was doing something that looked quite distinctive, and if you remember when I did my first review on the 5-part opening of the show, I did like it a lot, and there were some things that the show was doing which were kind of distinctive and which were drawing a somewhat throwback to Prime and the movies, but the movies had a little bit with this it adds a little bit more development than the movies. But anyway, there you go. But with Prime, as the show is really drawing to an end, I have had some complaints. I won't address them here, but with Beast Hunters, I have seen the trailers for the third and final series, and I will say, all past negative opinions about the show, I can put to one side, because with the show drawing to an end, and with Beast Hunters doing what it's doing, I have a reason to get excited for, and that is, since Season 2 ended on such a cliffhanger, and it ended with such a way that the Autobots were split off into different directions, and the Decepticons coming out on top, and Prime looking like he actually got killed in the in all that. Again, this is going to sound very different, because I have had very mixed opinions about Prime. One minute I like it, one minute I don't. With this, I really am kind of excited about it. I am excited to see where it's going with the final series. And with Prime, with Beast Hunters doing what it's doing and the trailers that it's currently putting out, I will say that right now I've got a lot of high hopes for Prime to end the show on a really big cliff note, on a big climactic conclusion. And I don't want to say too much that what it's doing will make me happy about it, but if the show can redeem itself from the two previous series and what it's tried to do and what it's failed somewhere in that regard, I can really like the show a great deal, because I have tried to like Prime a lot in what it's currently been offering. And if it can do something different, then maybe I can like Prime a lot. But since the third and final series begins airing at the end of the month, at the end of March, I can really say that I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it because it looks like it really is going to be a really good third and final series. And where it's going to go from there, nobody knows. But that's what I can say about Prime. So Prime, I'm excited for, and giving one last chance to redeem itself. With the toys, I have really no interest in the Prime toys. It's one of those. It's one of those lines that leaves me out in the cold because it's not trying any. It's not doing anything that is grabbing my interest at the moment. Because the toys, with them being what they are, and with the quality that is deducing, um, I only have 2 figures, and that's as far as I want to go. Except for Predaking. Predaking is probably the only figure in that line that I am actually interested in, because he actually looks really compelling. As a Dragon Former, and Dragon Formers are always cool toys to have. And, with the Prime line, it's a bit of a mixed bag for me, so that's all I can say regarding Prime. I'm excited to see where the Beast Hunters show is, part of the show is going. The Beast Hunters line I couldn't really care about, because it's basically just the same 2 waves of the line, only with extra added on attachments and brighter colors, just to make the figures stand out. And what else? With IDW currently pushing Transformers and doing very well with the More Than Meets the Eye comic, which explains why now we are getting classics figures which are based loosely on the characters which are appearing in the IDW comic. For example, we got a new Orion Pax, we got a Orion Pax figure, which is a nice surprise, a new Bumblebee, and a new Megatron, which is Megatron in his jet mode in the IDW comic. I think I have not been paying any attention to the IDW comic, so I am very left out and all that. But I can't really offer really any critique, except they look like nice figures, so that's all I can say about that. But I have mentioned as well, regarding Toy Fair this year, we are getting a Blitzwing, which I've mentioned before, we're getting a new Springer, and we're getting a Metroplex. All I can say regarding that Metroplex, I do want to like that figure, it looks interesting, but if the quality on it is going to be what we are currently getting with Transformers toys, and the quality being very thin, very brittle, and very loose, then I'm not even going to bother to even get excited about. If this figure can return to the way that Transformers were, which the quality was much more thicker and more well established, then I might at least give Hasbro some consideration that they are trying to rekindle their lost talents, as they are. And since this is the 30th anniversary, if they are going back to the way things used to be, for this one moment, I can get excited about it. But really, I won't know until I actually see. Well, not until I see, but until I can actually feel the figure in hand and go, okay, this is a good figure. This is returning to the way it used to be. I can't really say that much because I'm not much into toy collecting anymore. But the figures do look really nice. Blitzwing being one that I'm very, very attached to, because that's the one figure that I really want to get the most. But the Classics line, and here I thought for a minute that the Classics line had kind of really died after Force Cybertron kind of really came and went. But the Classics line, with 30th anniversary coming along, it might actually rekindle the Classics line a great deal and do something different with it. So I'm excited for that. What else? The new cartoon, which I have my doubts for, because going off this quickly, I'll get back onto this, but going off this quickly, the new movie is coming along, Transformers 4, set to come out in 2014, which will mark the 30th anniversary of the brand itself. I don't care about the movies anymore. What else do you want me to say except that the movies... The movies like Marmite, you either like it or you don't, but the movies have successfully done a very good job of bringing the fans back into this franchise, and what made it stand out so well. But at the same time, the movies have deduced Transformers fiction to being what it currently is in the films, which is racial stereotypes, misogynism, and all that nonsense. I won't list them all because we'll be here all day, but with the film, I've really got no high expectations for. I really do think that the movie might end up repeating the same mistake that the 3 films did, and do it much more louder, much more in your face, and just do it much more blatant. So the movie I really can't get excited about until I see a trailer or until something really attaches me which looks like a story, because the movies really do lack any form of a story. But going back onto the cartoon, because we will be getting a new cartoon hopefully by the middle of this year, or by the end of this year, and starting at the beginning of next year. But we won't be seeing anything, we won't be seeing news of a trailer or any concept art or anything like that until BotCon this year. But all I can say regarding the new cartoon is, if the show isn't a throwback and has its own identity and is doing something that's very different, then you know what, I can get excited for it, because the one thing that I hope this new cartoon doesn't end up being is another foreign import, and will do the exact same thing that already in the Unicorn Trilogy did, and wasted those years in trying to have something that resembled a story, and have some alternative to a comic, basically. But with the show, I can get excited for if it has a standalone identity that is doing something completely different, that is, you know, Dave mentioned this a while ago, is if the show is, what did he say? If the show is basically a, fuck, I'll also train of thought now, but if the show is basically a prime example of what made Transformers stand out when it first came out back in 1984, with G1, if the show is, I'm not saying that the show should entirely be nothing but fan service, but if the show is a basic homage to G1 that made the franchise so compelling, that helped make this franchise start out what it is, and what made people get so attached to this franchise and why it's so popular today, then that's one reason to get excited about. That's one reason to get excited about it. And if it isn't piggybacking off of the movies, and if it has a distinct, on its own identity that is trying something completely different, I can get excited for it. I can get excited for it for what it's trying to do. But if the show ends up disappointing many, then I don't know. I'm hoping that what Hasbro are doing and whatever ball is rolling around in their minds to get along with this new show that they will eventually put out, I want to see it do well. I want to see it gain the acclaim that it should have. But I won't get excited about it until we see a trailer or some concept art, or whoever we see is who are the writers for the show, the producers for the show, the directors for the show, the concept artists for the show, and everything else for the show to help make the show run at a steady pace and to help make the ball roll smoothly as it should go. So it's a bit of both. There are many different ways that this brand has gone. It could either go really badly or it could go really well, and I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm kind of worried. I'm worried of what the franchise might do next. But at the same time, change is always good. Change is always good to keep your franchise fresh and new. But you know, going back on the movie quickly, just to end this off, I've said this before, that the movie, I don't think that there should be another movie, because really the movies are a prime example of how you don't do a big budget action film regarding Transformers. If the movie ends up being another copy of what these three films were, then what's the point? How exactly will this film do anything differently than what the three films did prior to that? But here's an idea. And I get the feeling that this probably won't come to pass, but rather than just make another film, wouldn't it be a much more well, I wouldn't say sensible, because that's a stupid word, but a much more logical decision to put the movie away, not make it, cancel whatever is going along with it, fire Michael, just get rid of Michael Bay. Because I will admit right now, he was never the first choice to make these films from the very beginning. But kind of do exactly what the Batman series did. When Batman and Robin came out, and it pretty much made the franchise a complete joke from there, and comic book movies in general a complete joke. Just put the Batman series on hold. Wait for a while until the franchise has completely died down and people have completely forgotten about it for a little while, and there are some alternatives to at least keep the franchise going somewhat, and then come back several years later, like maybe 2016, and then do the movies again, but with a different director and with a different presentation of how the movies could have been done. I don't know, I mean, Michael Bay really isn't the only person that could direct these films. I mean, you have a growing industry of directors, writers, and producers. Get any of them to make a new film. Michael Bay shouldn't be the only one to do this. But I don't know. The new movie has me kind of a little bit worried, but really, until I see a trailer, I am not going to give any real positive thoughts regarding that film. Personally, I think it's just a waste of time to make another film. But the cartoon, if you really want to make something that's that is a true, I want to say a loving homage, that is an anniversary, a tribute to the Transformers, to the 30th anniversary, do kind of what G.I. Joe did. When back in 2009, when Rise of Cobra came along, and that was okay, I guess. But when Resolute came along, thanks to Warren Ellis and his style of writing and how Resolute presented itself, here's the idea. Make a mature-themed Transformers cartoon that lasts for about, well, that's like a 20-part miniseries that is completely adult-orientated, that's aimed for people who grew up with G1, who lived throughout those years, and who loved the franchise growing up. Make something that is familiar to the fans. Let's make something that's familiar to audience. Make something that's familiar to the fans, and make something different for general audiences. Well, not a jumping on point, but just something that's different. Instead of making a new movie, instead of making a big blockbuster action film, another Transformers film, just make the exact same thing of what G.I. Joe Resolute did. Do something very similar to that. That's a true representation of how Transformers was, or of how Transformers is, and what made this franchise so good. Same thing with G.I. Joe, because when Rise of Cobra came along, it kind of didn't gain the reputation that it deserved. And with Resolute, which was kind of an alternative to that. And I'll even go so far as to say that Resolute was better than Rise of Cobra, but that's just me, though, because I'm not too big on G.I. Joe, but Resolute really did wash the bad taste out of everyone's mouths that was Rise of Cobra. A lot of people liked it, and that's fine. If you want to like it, that's your opinion. But yeah, that's really all I can say regarding that. I won't go too further into it, but yeah, instead of making a new movie, make a 20-part miniseries that is completely adult-orientated, that is aimed for the fans who are in their 20s and 30s, who loved this franchise growing up, to just do something different. Do something that is, that at the same time is paying a true, close homage to the original series, to G1, but at the same time doing something that is completely different. But yeah, I get a feeling that's never going to happen, though, because with the movie already happening, Transformers 4 is going to happen with the new trilogy, so I can't really get excited about that. But that's really all I can say regarding that. That's how I see how Transformers is going to currently go from this year, and we close on to next year into 2014, with the 30th anniversary coming along. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm being negative, but I hope that whatever decision Hasbro decide to do with the series, that it ends up not becoming a complete joke, if that makes any sort of sense. But yeah, that's my input on it. I hope that really helps. But all in all, I can say that I'm excited for what direction the franchise is going to go in this year and next year. But at the same time, I'm kind of really worried as to where it's going to go from there, and to what it's going to do differently to either make the series better or make it completely shit. That's really all I can say. So until then, folks. Oh, and one more thing as well, just to kind of really clear this on a different note. When the new cartoon comes along, and assuming if the new cartoon has Bumblebee being another appealing character to appeal to younger audiences, can we have him talk again, please? Because with Prime having him just talking in bleeps and bloops and not really understanding what he's talking about, and a character that really lacks any form of a personality, other than you're supposed to watch his facial movement, his body language movement, that's really not enough. I liked Bumblebee more when he had a voice, when he had some sort of a personality, not counting animated Bumblebee, because that's a different story. But just make Bumblebee talk again, because I think the whole bleeps and bloops thing was really an invention of the movie and should stay with the films. It should really not go from there. It should not be translated to any other form of media in Transformers, just the films. But give Bumblebee a voice again. Give Bumblebee a chance to talk again. That's really all I'm after. Bye, folks.